Hey guys, my name is John. I enjoy creating, discovering and sharing stories. I've spent the better part of a year practicing for case interviews, and so I've decided to invest a little bit more time into doing something a little bit more personally meaningful. And what that means to me is working with people to help them discover their dreams, their passions, and really their stories, right? So that's what I intend to do. And today is really our first episode. Welcome to this first episode.
Oh wait, first episode?
It's the first episode. I have with me right here, his name is Edward Lim.
I don't know if I'm worthy to be first episode.
No, you definitely are. You definitely are, right? So that's actually the whole point, right? Project Handles, why we name it that is just because at the end of the day, everybody has their own story, everybody has their own dreams and passions and talents to share with the world. And it's going to be at the intersection of our passions, our talents, and where there are pains and needs in this world that our vocations are going to lie. Edward Lim, happy to have you with us today in your beautiful home.
Right. Yes. This is what my home looks like. Yeah.
So
don't get too used to it.
So like one of the things about it was that I was thinking about what kind of shot would be a nice filming spot for conversations such as these. And I was thinking cafes, restaurants and stuff might look nice, but it's a little bit hard to record.
Yeah, you probably have to on audio.
Yeah, exactly, right? I walked in here and then the living room was perfect. It felt like everyone had put together this set as specifically for something like this, right? So that was really amazing. Yeah. Maybe to start us off with, let me start actually. A little bit of an introduction about Edward here, and he can give a little bit of an introduction about himself as well.
Oh God.
So Edward Lim Serzi, right? I first met this man when I decided to join a little startup called Rising. And Rising itself is a social enterprise on a mission to build the world's fairest rice value chain. Edward himself was a veteran of the company when I first joined in, so he was already there my first day. And he himself, I think, is someone who's very, very driven, someone who's very intelligent, and also someone who's very empathetic and kind. One memory that speaks to this kindness is that I think one time we were having a company dinner discussions and introductions about who all of us employees were, right? Introducing ourselves to co-founders. I relatively new and also pretty atrocious at introducing and speaking up about myself. Was asked to introduce myself, and you could literally hear crickets in the room. And Edward here, the gentleman that he is, he came in out of nowhere to speak up a little bit about me, show me off a little bit, if you will. And he didn't need to do that. We weren't friends or anything. We didn't even work together in the company. We worked on different projects, but he took that upon himself because that's the sort of guy and the sort of character that he has. A little bit more about Edward is that Edward is a former professional esports player, a psychologist. Today he's an analyst with tech consultancy Accenture. He's also very much into bouldering on the side of boxing and cycling as well on the side. So a very, very fit guy. So Edward's dream, right, in his own words, is I want to belong with a group of smart, well-meaning people who are participating in the world and making it a better place. And whether it be through clinical therapy, social engineering, sport performance or consulting, I want to be a part of actively changing the world for the better. I think that's what inspires me and keeps me tethered to the world. So,
did I actually say that?
You did actually.
Did I actually say that? Actually, yes, something else.
Maybe that's quite possible. But you'd like to introduce yourself, maybe in your own words?
Sure. So hey guys. As John mentioned, Edward here. Thanks for the introduction.
No worries.
I'm not even sure if I'm worthy to be guest in this
show
or this podcast.
You most definitely are.
But John's a real convincing guy.
No doubt.
Yeah, that's how he got into my house. On my couch and filming a video with me.
That's how I got him to cook dinner for me.
Well, okay, yeah. Let's not give people wrong ideas. I like you as a friend, but not that much. But yeah. I did share that with you, I guess, quite a while back, right? What kind of motivates me that way. I guess it came from a very personal place, that kind of thing. Growing up, I had quite a dysfunctional family upbringing in that sense, and I couldn't really, I guess, express a lot of what I was interested in or what I wanted to think about the world. I thought about a lot of things and I actually asked quite a few questions, but it was just hard. I felt like I didn't have kind of a group of people that I belong or that could function properly, right? To kind of engage with the world. And I can't just, kind of growing up, I just want to kind of find a place that's the opposite of that, whereby people can actively and engagingly and effectively engage with the world in a way that's a bit more beneficial and also a bit more positive and a bit more functional as well. It's a very personal drive, I guess. I want to prove to myself at least that it's not the cards that you've dealt with that determine where you end up in life. It's kind of showing the fact that we can change, we can be better, and we don't need to do it alone. We can have the drive and agency to find people that can really help us and help each other in that way. Right? So yeah, I'm glad I got to meet people like you along the way, right? Sometimes maybe I regret it, but I'm kidding. Yeah, so it's really great surrounding yourself with really bright people like yourself, trying to think about the world, right? Going forward and putting their best foot forward.
I approached that word like maybe a couple weeks back regarding the intention to do this sort of video, right? But before I had even approached that word, a couple of years back when I actually first joined the company, he mentioned something along these lines to me about his own dream, right? And the way that he put it is that he told me that what he wanted to do was join consulting because he wanted to have an active role, a meaningful role in being able to help shape public policy to make society, and specifically the Malaysian society, a better place, right? Most people who join consulting, and they join it because, for maybe three main reasons, right? You join it for the money, you join it for the name on your CV, and then you join it for the learnings, right? That consulting's sure to teach you if it doesn't kill you first. And to me, what struck me as very odd with Edward was that he had such a different notion, a very intentional reason, and also a reason that went a little bit beyond himself. He was saying that it's because of your background and also the way that you grew up that you wanted to transform that dysfunctionality into something a little bit more conducive, right? Something a little bit more healthy for yourself. So
yeah.
Maybe the first question here for me is that what sort of drove you to make those changes that you needed to make?
That's a really tough question, man. For the second question, honestly. And to be frank, John mentioned the money, John mentioned prestige. Those are definitely factors as well, right? Sure. Consulting. So I'm not as pure as you put me out to be, or as righteous.
Sure.
But yeah, you were right. Back then it was a driving factor. It was a strong driving factor. I think while the money is great or while the branding is great in that way, I think I needed something a bit more personal to keep it sustainable for myself, right? And I guess along the way it kind of changed a bit, but we can get to that later maybe.
Sure.
But you mentioned what pushed me or how did I get out of that place?
What was your motivation, right? Going for these sorts of industries and these sorts of roles, they're not easy. I've practiced with Edward on case interviews and things like this.
He's got way better than me.
How many countless? No, he's being humble here.
No.
But these are not easy things, right, to do. And where does that motivation come from? Where does that drive come from?
I think I owe a lot of it to my mom. She kind of saw that our family was also a bit dysfunctional in that way, right? She did the best she could, right? No shade to her in that way. And also credit to her, she saw it and she knew that we could be better. She wanted better for me in that sense, right? So she really kind of, since a very young age, kind of instilled that mindset into me, or that drive, that self-belief that you are better than this, or we are better than this, and we can get out of this, and we can be better. We just need to figure out a way to get out of it, right? And to escape all the nonsense surrounding the family system right at the time. Yeah, it was pretty bad in the senses. And she was right. We eventually did figure out, but that was the starting point, right? That was the fire, that was the motivation, that was the belief that was ingrained into me since I was a little boy, that way. there were times throughout my life where I felt that was a curse, honestly, because I was like, why did you give me this ambition, this idea, when I wasn't equipped to achieve it? And I was actually really angry for a long time, honestly, like to be honest. I was actually very angry, really bitter, angry at people around me, angry at my mom, angry at myself, angry at the world not being fair that way. But I think along the way, you kind of just come to a point of acceptance and realization that if you want things to get better, you kind of have to accept it as it is first. Then you know that, okay, you're here, so how do you move forward, right? And you first got to accept that you're here, right? Then you can only move forward. Because if you don't accept that, you're going to be like, I'm not here, I'm somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to make any steps in that changes. So yeah, really credit to her. She instilled that belief. That was the starting point. That was the starting point. That was the fine, right? So thanks to her, thanks to her. And yeah, I see that drive in you a lot also as well, like motivation and drive to really push yourself. So I don't know, what about you? Like, was it the same with your parents? Did they really push you that way, or did it come somewhere else externally? I don't know. Like,
Sure.
yeah.
That's a good question.
Yeah, didn't expect me to ask you questions.
No, I was not actually. So, I thought this would be an
No,
easy
this
show.
needed to be a
I thought I would
conversation.
just,
I'm
be the
not
one
gonna
asking
sit here and
questions,
just answer. It's like, it seems that you're really driven as well. So where did that come from? Because I know where it came from for me.
Where did my motivation?
Yeah, so was it an external thing that way, or was it your parents as well that ingrained that belief in you that yeah, your drive to always get you always push yourself, right? Like, it's, you always want to be better. It's not of a sense that you're not good enough, but it's more of a sense you want to be better, right? And you also want to do good. So where did that came from that way? Like,
I'm the youngest in my family, I think. So
like a chip on your shoulder.
I mean, probably to a certain extent. Sometimes, like when you're the youngest and everything, like it has the most privileges because you get off the hook the most, I would imagine, relative to like others. But at the same time, you also get probably the least amount of responsibility as compared to anybody else. I think that was one of the motivations for me to want to excel and to do better. I traveled and moved around quite a bit.
Right, yeah.
So I went to Taman Segar, Sekolah Kebangsaan Taman Segar in Shiraz for Standard 1 and Standard 2. I moved to PJ, to Sekolah Kebangsaan Bandar Utama Taman Sara 4 for the 2 years for Standard 3 and halfway through Standard 4. But then my family, we moved for a short time to Italy for a couple of years because of my dad's work. So
That's crazy, actually. Yeah.
it's pretty cool. I mean, it's just for a couple of years, but it was a nice experience, I think. The food was great.
Yeah, that's why you love pesto.
That's why I love pesto. That's why I love pasta as well. But not Italian style pasta maybe. Unless I'm in Italy, I prefer the cream. For sure, not my dad's thing. He prefers the authentic stuff. I like the cream. So. Yeah, we came back and I went to high school. So I don't know. I've been moving a lot, and I think one thing about me is that I'm the sort of person who I try to be quite intentional about the relationships that I have. It doesn't mean that I'm good at doing that, but I try. Especially, I think the more that I go on, I try to cherish them.
And it was hard to like maintain certain friendships.
Yes, yeah. So I remember in Standard 1, Standard 2, I would have. I mean, there were
Say
friends.
bye.
Yeah, and then I moved to Standard 3, Standard 4. I just started. So it was really cool because I had just started to join a gang.
Yeah. Like a group where you belong.
Yeah, and my Malay. So my Malay wasn't that great, but my parents sent me from Malay. It still isn't, but it was getting better. So I went for tuition.
I think your French is better than your Malay.
It probably is, but I went for tuition, right? And then my Malay was starting to get good, and I knew this because in school, I would meet this Malay kid, and I would be able to argue back in Malay. And I think that's the point. That's the standard. When you're able
you can argue back.
to argue back to someone Yeah, India native how? That's when you know you've sort of reached that level of familiarity, that level of fluency. So I traveled a lot, and I think that it impacted me a little bit because I didn't really like the whole thing about like meeting people, getting close to people, and then having to move on a little bit as well. I went to high school with a bunch of like international kids, and I think after graduation, one thing that I felt was that most of my friends would go abroad to study, and very few would be left like in Malaysia and things like this, right? And I would always feel, it hurts a little bit. I mean, it feels a little bit strange sometimes, so it's not always the best feeling. But even in uni and everything, for whatever reason, I find myself like joining semi-competitive stuff. Like in high school, I would join like Model United Nations. So you're pretty much like, I introduced myself as someone who's like competitive. I think it's a very good.
He is quite competitive.
Because like in Model United Nations, you
you have to
challenging
debate
yourself to debate people, to throw nukes at people, right?
What?
In university, joining case competitions, joining Isaac, which is by far one of the most corporate introduction to actual work life.
Is it really?
It is.
I thought ICMS was a standard.
I didn't join that, but it probably is as well.
Yeah, sure.
You can self-subject yourself to torture. So, I don't know, I ended up joining a lot of these things. So.
And you brought it forward continuously now, from that point on.
And I brought it forward, right? So I found myself in the 4th year of uni, and I studied econs and global studies, but I didn't really feel a passion for that. But what was interesting was consulting, because I genuinely liked the fact that it was industry agnostic, and it was more about developing your ability to think critically, to solve problems. And importantly, that skill set would be transferable to my personal life. And
anything actually.
Yeah, and to me, being able to think critically and to be able to develop my competency, that was by far the most important thing to me. That's sort of what I've been
doing until now, and I'm
striving to.
Yeah, I've seen it. But actually, to that point, right, you mentioned like you moved to Italy, you kind of changed several schools, right? So you kind of like you had to leave certain people.
Yeah.
Every time you felt you almost belonged, and you left people. And then when you went into high school, you felt like you found a gang again, you belonged, and then they left. Right. So it always feels like the groups that you belong to, they're kind of dissipating.
Yeah.
Not because of your control in a way, right? Either because you're leaving, people are leaving, and
I think a lot of the times, like especially when I was growing up, it was just the nature of things, right? You don't really get to control what schools you go to.
Right.
You have to make the best out of the situation.
Do you think that made you kind of like, you mentioned the intentionality with meeting people, and then the second round was solving things structurally through consulting? Do you think you're like trying to piece them together so you can build like a community around you that won't dissipate out of your control, and you have control behind that? Right?
Good question.
Oh yeah, I see it, and you've come a long way, and now you like strat, in Accenture, which is pretty nice. But I know that that's never ever going to be the end for you. That's never the end state, right? You're always going to be growing.
Yeah.
And that's what I really like. That's what resonates with me, because I'm that way as well, and I feel like that's one core foundation thing. But being friends, right? At least me being friends with you, can't be stagnant. Want to grow? Because if I meet you 1 year from now and you're the same person, that's okay. Like if you're happy, that's fine. But I'm a bit bored. It's not very exciting. It's nothing new.
Okay, so I have to keep changing myself.
Be friends for your benefit. For your benefit.
For my benefit to be friends.
And my entertainment.
Nice,
but yeah,
for your amusement. I think one of the things that I recently tried to pay a little bit more focus to is to my faith, right? So like earlier this year, I had the benefit of like traveling down to Singapore, going for this conference.
Oh yeah, I saw it. You had a post about it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So like I went for this conference that like my family went to.
Right.
And it's called the Conversion Experience Retreat, and it's organized by like Singapore's Cardinal Go, William Go. The one very, very special thing that I still appreciate to this day is that I met people that are around my age that I could really resonate with and that I could really relate to. And the thing that truly inspired and truly moved me was being able to see their faith and their virtue, and how that reflected in them to make them appear all the more amazing in a sense.
Right.
And I could see through how they carried themselves, I could see virtue, I could see a strong sense of justice, of courage.
So you felt like there was a part of yourself that wasn't really something you explored, or at least drove further for a while.
Definitely. I could see the presence of those virtues that I truly admire, and also that I would want to embody for myself, right? And I could see those virtues reflected in people my own age, which made a difference because, if I look at like my dad or like my sister, right, if I see those virtues there, it's like,
Your sister's not much older than you.
no, but still, so it's like, I have two sisters, but like, or even if I see my brother, it doesn't really count because they're my family, they're like, I meant to ignore them, the examples that they set for me, right? Yeah, so it's like, but I saw them in people my own age, right?
Yeah,
so,
more relatable.
One thing that the cardinal said, that Father Go said was that, you'll maybe forget like 90% of what I tell you during these like 5 days or however long it was retreat. But the one thing that will remain with you is the faith that is important to you. Because faith, how he describes it, is something which it transmits from person to person. Because he has faith, and because he speaks to us, that faith transmits to us.
Right. It expresses in the way he walks, talks, and lives his life, and you guys see it,
and it transmits.
Right. And it's a model that you guys can basically bring forward in the way you walk and talk as well, and you live your life.
Correct. And it was true. I saw that faith in my group, basically, in my peer group, being able to see their virtues and their faith and how they presented themselves to be, and how they weren't afraid, how they weren't ashamed of their faith, of expressing it to people and those around them. I think that really moved me. How they worshipped God, and they weren't ashamed of it. It was natural for them. Right? This is who they are. This is where their identities are. It's rooted in Christ, right? And when I think about maybe just challenges in life, these are examples for me to draw back towards, to push myself forwards, because they're inspirations for the standard that is set, and that's a standard that I want to work towards, right?
Yeah, not only in your career, but also in everything, the way you live, things you do, your passion, your side projects,
Correct. Because everybody, I believe, is created by God, and every person is unique in a sense, irreplaceable. Their own sort of signature, if you will, right?
Yeah, sure.
That would be missing, that would be felt if they weren't there.
Bad or good, etc. But yeah, hopefully good usually.
No,
Good.
Always
underlying latent good potential in that way, and
always meant to be good, but
latent. Sometimes it may be latent. Not always turning out that way. Sometimes.
Sure, but whether or not it turns out good or bad, the intention is always for it to be oriented towards good, right? And so I want to do these sorts of things to help people, and by extension help myself to start going about doing these things to help people discover more of their purposes.
Right. Yeah, I resonate quite a bit, right? Because I used to have that core belief when you mentioned I wanted to go into consulting to shape public policy, because I knew that everyone could be better, and people were just not dealt the cards that were good at the start of life, or they were not given the equal opportunities. So if we could shape the system to account for that, and basically shift the scales in their favor, accounting for human biases. I studied psychologist, so I was scanning for that. It's behavioral science, right? Behavioral nudging. Then we could kind of get everyone to the end state whereby their latent potential could be expressed, or at least achieved, right, in that sense. But I also mentioned that it has evolved, right, in that way. And I guess I still do believe that people all can be better. They all have their capability. But I think I've come to a state where I realize that some people don't want to, or some people are not ready to. Some people just, might not ever get there, and that's, that's saddening sometimes. But that's fine. That's life. That is the choice as well. And as long as they live the life their way, that at least they have the agency towards it. What they do is happiness or success to them, right? And it's all for them in that sense. So I guess that's how it evolved for me. I used to be a bit more outward looking and trying to help people shift in that way. So now I'm thinking like I still can, but it's not like fully my responsibility to do that, because it's also partially in the ball is also partially in their palm that way. They want to do. Everyone can. They want to.
So where's the shared responsibility?
Yeah, in that sense, right? I think I just took too much responsibility at the beginning. A bit narcissistic as I say, right? Who am I to go and help or save people? It really isn't, right? So we can still do the best we can for each other and help each other and whatnot, right? Express that. You being here asking me these questions and I'm asking you these questions as well. We grow together, we push each other. But at the end of the day, you also got to push yourself, right? And as much as I would like to help you, you've got to help yourself first.
Pushing is on both sides.
Right, exactly, right? So yeah, so I think coming to that realization in that sense. Now a word from our sponsor.
This is Hue Protein Puffs. It's Edward's latest craving and snack. You can see here. Apparently it's 30 grams of protein. Perfect for 20 grams of protein, right? Perfect for people who want to.
Or John.
When it comes to you, like what motivates you and helps you to come like alive, like makes you happy and passionate? Is there something that comes
specifics? So you're asking like a bit more actionable.
Yeah, I think
day-to-day kind of thing, right? Like you're making it really concrete now.
Yes.
It's two main things, honestly, that come to mind. At least on top, I'm sure. So I think one is basically like solving really interesting problems. Okay. These are really exciting and interesting problems that you can really tackle, right? And there are domains that I'm interested in. Like we are in consulting, so obviously business problems that makes sense, right? But also like I'm really into bouldering as well, and the whole part about that sport is about problem solving, puzzle solving.
Okay.
On the wall, but on a physical sense. Right? How do you place your body in a specific position to elevate it to the next position? Right? Knowing physics and knowing gravity and knowing rotational movement as well as directional pressure.
Sure, and I've seen you boulder as well, so
no, it's
I definitely seems at times you define gravity.
It's so cool, it's so fun. But yeah, it's so cool. You should come on. What are you doing? Where have you been?
My fingers hurt every time.
That's the whole
they
point.
Start bleeding. They bleed
dude,
after.
That's because you go too hard. Anyway,
probably.
Yeah. So solving problems, right? And then the second part is basically, the people sense, right? I really want to surround myself with really passionate and driven people that want to solve the problem. I think I really come alive when I am around that group, right? Whether it's in a work discussion, tackling a corporate issue, if my team's like really driven to solve it and they really think about the issue, it really invigorates me. I'm like, this is where I want to be. These are the people I want to work with. This is what I want to learn, and we can really solve this problem. We can really do it together, right? So it's not only in work, right? It's like outside of work. I'm in the bouldering gym. Like I have a group of friends I go with, right? And we all push each other. We're all at roughly a similar level, right? So when we're at the forefront of like what our limits are and we're trying to solve a problem, we're always brainstorming ways, different techniques and different solutions, and you just feel alive when you're part of that, right? It's just not the same like when I do it alone. Don't get me wrong, sometimes I need my alone time. Right?
Yeah.
I get tired. I need space to just zone out, be by myself and focus on the problem. But when I'm in that brainstorming environment in the group,
it's a communal thing, right?
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. You just cannot figure out the things you would be able to alone, right? Because the kind of synergies and the kind of like combinations of ideas.
So now that we know, where your motivations, your drive is, which as you mentioned, it's in problem solving, and also specifically, it's in problem solving with like-minded people. When you find a task that you're interested in, whether it be business problems, whether it be physical challenges, you find a group of people that have that same interest, have that same direction.
Even life problems.
Even life problems, right?
Yeah,
life problems. So that's where your passion is. So let's switch gears, right? We know where your passion is, which is problem solving.
It's like therapy session.
I don't know, man. You're the therapist, right? So,
no, I'm not, guys. I'm not certified.
The other side to it, right? Where do you think your talents are? Where do you think your strengths are?
Right. Because if there's no overlap, I'm pretty screwed.
I think there's no overlap.
Right. So my talents.
It's always like in those interview sections.
I think I'm pretty good at failing. I'm pretty good at failing though. You see me fail a lot actually.
Fail fast, like
or at least learn from failure, bounce back from failing, right? Because we were in the startup and
Not true. Oh,
yeah. we like at times didn't know what the hell was going on.
Maybe Lincoln shouldn't watch this.
Yeah, maybe.
So Lincoln's our Xbox.
It's fine. He understands. He agrees with us.
He's probably the one who's best at doing this kind
failing
of
as well, right?
Failing fast, right?
Right, and learning from it, right? And yeah, actually maybe it's not a talent because that's something we kind of needed to learn. It wasn't natural to me to fail.
Yeah.
I wasn't comfortable with it, but I knew that I needed to fail to learn. And if I wasn't comfortable failing, I wouldn't get anywhere in life. And I was like, so I kind of just like kept pushing myself to that uncomfortable space. Obviously the end goal is to not fail, but you're gonna have to fail a lot to get that right. You don't want to make it masochistic in that way, right?
No, of course you don't want to make it masochistic.
You don't want to self-sabotage yourself and put yourself in failure just to say, I get it. I just prefacing because the wrong idea. People are gonna be like, oh, failure is the way to get to success. Let me just keep making myself fail in that way, right? That's not the point, right? In that sense, I guess.
No, it's definitely not.
Yeah, but I mean,
I'm trying to wrap my head around that one.
Yeah, I know it doesn't sound very logical, but I've seen people like self-sabotage a lot because they're like, if I keep failing, I won't be disappointed.
I feel awkward. So I don't think you want to take that route anyway.
Yeah, but like don't desensitize yourself to it, but kind of learn from it.
Yeah, I think that's an important thing. Yeah,
and
to be able to learn. Yes, and then you were mentioning one of the talents that comes to mind.
I guess a very basic answer would be numbers. I was relatively good at numbers since I was young. Math, like
interesting.
It came a bit more naturally to me in a
Okay.
way. Which is kind of a pain if my mom is hearing this. She's gonna be like, why didn't you do actually like I told you to do or economics?
So I should twist the logo.
Bro, they ain't sponsoring you. But I was saying like my mom was always like pushing me to do economics.
Sure.
Actually, because she felt like my math was really good. So I guess that was a talent.
Sure.
But that wasn't really what I cared about when I was younger. I cared more about people. I was caring more about why we were the way we are and how we can improve. So I was like, I didn't listen to my mom, I rebelled and I went to study psychology. And I don't regret it. And I learned a lot. I wouldn't be the person I am today if I didn't study psychology. The second thing is curiosity. I think that's the best talent I have, honestly. Like I'm super curious. I just want to learn. I just want to know. I just want to see. I just want to experience, and I just want to understand why something is the way something is. The world is just so interesting to me in that way. And I've always had it since I was young, but I've lost it sometimes along the way. And I think I'm kind of getting it back now in this part of my life. So I really want to hold on to that and build on it, right? So
the curiosity. I think I see it because sometimes when you do case practices.
I asked too much.
No. It's more
I asked a lot of
like
questions.
No, it's more like case practices. They're difficult to do, right? And but for you do them more as these as a part of your routine, something that
it's something to learn.
Something to learn,
experience and
it's fun, right?
Yeah. It gets pretty fun. Or it gets into your day to day.
Yeah.
It grounds me. There's something I get to learn today. Or what's this new industry thing that I get to learn, right? That's kind of why I love boarding as well, right? There's always a new movement, a new pattern, a new set way of positioning your body, and it's endless. Life is so rich. There's so much to see, so much to hear, so much to learn, right? And yeah,
it's such an optimistic view of life.
No, it is. There's so many things to do. We haven't climbed mountains in France, and we haven't boarded there, or at least I haven't boarded there, and jumped off a cliff into the ocean.
You're like a vibrant bubble of energy, right?
And I'm not always like that, right? So have my down days. Then I talk to people like you, and I say, hey, cheer me up.
I think we're polar opposite in that sense. I've always been more inclined towards call side.
Yeah, I've seen it. But you've worked hard a lot, and your quant is pretty strong now.
So that was something that's actually pretty proud of because for case interviews and stuff.
Yeah, they say your quant was strong. Yeah.
So being able to practice and see the results, forcing myself to have that quant balance as well.
And talent actually you raised a very good point actually. So skills and talent, right? So talent is kind of innate, but it's just not enough, right? It's just there. It's just like your base, and if you don't build on it,
Yeah.
you'll never become something more.
And it's also not necessarily going to be, you don't need to view it as a holding restraint.
Right, exactly. It's just a higher base in mind, and
Yeah.
if you can build on it, and you should build on it. You can do
You know you can do it, right? Yeah. It's
almost
amazing.
anything that you put your mind to,
Yeah.
but you shouldn't do everything because you have limited capacity as a human being.
What do you think are your weaknesses? I saw a meme, right? So it's like during an interview, say, I fall in love fast.
How is that?
So, so that's the first weakness, right? So then the interviewer asks, what's your second weakness? It's those black brown eyes.
Oh god!
Okay, but yeah.
Don't do that in your interview.
I want
Don't do that.
Get to the chillness.
Wait, what? Which interview? What?
I was talking to Andrew about memes during Establish.
So it's a chill interview,
Establish rapport. Talk about.
So it's a chill interview, That's nice.
No, it was tough. It was tough. It was.
He didn't give you a case though. He grilled your CV.
Anyways, what are your weaknesses?
Okay, so there's a long time weakness that I had for a while now that I'm still working on.
Sure.
And then there's a more recent one that I think it's coming to light to me. I think I've always had a big kind of recently realized. So the first one is like pretty headstrong, pretty opinionated, very stubborn.
See, that's why I wanted you to meet Zachin.
She wasn't headstrong. Okay, I could see it a bit.
So Zachin is our ex-colleague from Rising. So I would definitely hope that she watches.
Shading people publicly now.
Yeah, no, that's the whole point, right? When you shoot these sorts of things, you get that ability.
So you can name call people.
You get to name call them, you get to shame them.
And this is how you get marketing clicks.
That's how you get marketing. I don't know.
That's why you called Accenture.
You
didn't call them out. You gave them a shout out.
Yeah, I gave them a shout out. Same as the heel protein pass of it. No. Okay. The focus is here.
Yeah. Pretty stubborn.
Zachin's our colleague as well.
Yeah,
she's also very.
She's pretty stubborn.
I'd say I can't say that. She should get mad at me. She's very driven. So. She's very rich. She's very driven. And I think that's
politically correct answer.
no, but I mean it's one of her best attributes as well. So back to you. So headstrong.
Yeah, pretty stubborn. I think naturally so. But throughout the years, at least I hope I have gotten less stubborn and been more willing to listen to opinions and have a discussion. But I will still always kind of like, make it a discussion. I won't just let the point go if I hold it strongly or think about it right now. So I'll actually talk about it and voice it out, right? So it needs to be a discussion that way. I think just growing up, I always had this idea that I needed to think for myself because everything around me was on fire, so I couldn't believe anything.
Sure.
So I kind of needed to figure out my own path that way, and that's kind of why I'm really stubborn in that sense. Right? I don't listen to an elderly just because they're older than me. I listen to them based on the merits of their point.
Sure, yeah.
Or what's right?
Yeah, which makes sense.
Yeah, but also like I kind of think I'm right, and I don't. But yeah. So that was always me, and I think it was very hard for me to improve because I couldn't take feedback. Right? I still have that problem sometimes right now. I'm not as adaptable. Like a lot of times, even when we case, you gave me feedback on my case, I could push back a bit. I could see myself pushing back a bit. At least mentally, I could understand what you were saying, but it wouldn't click for me, into me, and it wouldn't be internalized, right? But because I know that's my natural tendency now, I take steps to reflect, take steps to actually internalize what's being said to me afterwards. So you give me time, I'll usually come around to it after I think about it, and it will make sense, right?
Okay.
But yeah, it's just not natural. It takes time for me to internalize.
Yeah.
You gotta listen to people.
You got to, but you also.
You always have to just listen. You surround yourself with great people and you listen to them. Yeah, you have a point of view, but surround yourself with good people. So. Second point though, I think more recent one, I think I project a lot on people.
Project?
Like I project what I think they are instead of what they actually are. Right?
So you perceive them to be something that they're not.
Yeah.
That's called projection.
In psychology, obviously.
Okay, alright, I guess you're
projecting ideas or beliefs about something towards a person.
Walk me through that. What does that look like? I'm not really
Sure.
come across this before.
I have several examples actually. So like I used to be in uni and we did academic research. Basically, we certain lecturers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there was a program we could apprentice under certain lecturers.
Okay.
Right. So me and my friend, we pick a specific lecture based on certain merits we saw on it, right? Thought it was pretty cool. What I realized after getting into it and working with Sid so and so lecturer was that wasn't the reality. That was just a projection. It was just an idea, basically. Putting onto it.
Doesn't that just mean you evaluated him incorrectly?
Yeah, but it happens a lot. It happens a lot, right? In that sense, I tend to misjudge character because I positively attribute it, or like I over-index on positive. Right? I don't come from reality in that sense, right? Because it's all like shades of roses in a way, right? So it's either like a career, or the lecturer example, right, and whatnot. You're laughing, right?
Because I'm thinking about the applications for the other category.
The other categories. Yeah. More recently, these 2 years, I've been trying to be a bit more realistic in how I see things, right? Yeah. In how I evaluate those characteristics, right? If it's something I really want and I can't find it and I'm forcing something else to be it, and it's not actually it, right?
Yeah.
Then I kind of got to think about it.
Make the thing what you want.
No, that's
It is you.
that's messed up.
Okay,
okay. Then my work professionally on that entrepreneurs actually have their reality distortion view.
Okay.
That's what entrepreneurs are, right? They see something that's not real yet, they make it reality, right? They sell a dream, it becomes reality. Elon Musk said electric vehicles could be the same price as oil and gas vehicles. Well, guess what? They're here today. It wasn't the reality, right? So reality distortion view. Sure. That's a positive side of entrepreneurship. I don't think I have that.
When I think about like friendships and relationships, right? I think sometimes, naturally speaking, all of us are imperfect. Like people mess up. I mess up, and then people around me may mess up. And something that I've tried to start to understand is that, hey, when those bad things happen, right, you can choose to sort of like cut ties, like move on from them. But when you don't, and when you work on those like friendships and relationships, you sort of realize that they can work. Obviously, this is not like necessarily saying that you should surround yourself with
put up with really bad,
abusive, like,
right, and justify it.
but
and work.
Yeah, but it's
no, I get it.
No, you set
to a reasonable amount.
Yeah,
there is going to be conflict,
yes,
rupture, and then repair, right?
Yes, so
and that's resilience.
Yes, so like
right. Because I have angered you before. We know that.
We do know that.
We do know that, and but. I approached you to apologize, and also I own up to it, and you own up to it, your mistakes as well.
Yeah.
And
To
then
a certain extent.
that's how it works, right?
But yeah, so like, I mean, like you set boundaries, you set expectations.
Yeah, reasonable amounts in that way. Right.
One unique example
Right.
is that I was such a terrible like teammate to one of my friends, and she was like my best friend in uni. Like when
You're always a good team player, but okay.
But like when I was at my lowest point, basically, like later on, maybe a few months down the line or something, like when I was at my lowest point, like she was still there. She was still there for me.
That's
It's like, I told her like, I'm sorry for like, being a bad friend. Like she was like, it's okay. I don't like hold grudges.
Right.
And for her, it seemed like quite genuine, because like,
Right.
she was like, I don't know, like that was my first encounter with someone who was able to see like the worst stuff that I've ever done as a, like some of the worst stuff that I've ever done as a person.
Somebody, bro.
It's pretty terrible, like so like, but she was able to see that the worst part of myself and like not judge me, and then she had somehow found it in herself to like let it go and forgive me.
But you owned up to it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I probably told her, sorry for being a bad friend or something like that.
But you could never, because that thing with her is already finished, so...
Yeah, that thing already with her is already
right,
finished.
the work period was gone, so you couldn't go back.
And it's the work period that causes that tension sometimes,
Right.
Because work is stressful. Talk about strengths, talk about passions. Where do you see people suffering right now? What else?
In the market. In the market.
The market of joy.
The market of people around me. Wow, what a consultant thing to do. Now we want to mostly get system solutions. There are two things. One is what I used to think was the greatest pain, and the second would be what I think is like more of the pain that I see right now.
Sure, yeah.
People weren't giving chance or opportunity, basically, to be the best self right now. They weren't given mentorship, or they weren't given a good upbringing. They weren't given a friend to guide, somebody to basically uplift them. because they weren't given those opportunities, they couldn't really utilize their full potential, right? So going back to that, I think it's like we're savior mentality complex. You know? Then I kind of realized like not everyone actually wants to, even when given a chance, right? Back in the day, so I was always trying to like help people, right, in that sense. And I think focusing more on figuring out how to enable people, maybe not help them directly, would be a better way to think about it.
Sounds like you're still helping them, I mean.
yeah, I guess okay. Yeah. I guess like you can't truly help a person as they help themselves. But anyway, the current state, at least what I see the pain in people is, I think acceptance. It's really hard for me.
That's interesting.
Yeah, no, I'm serious. I'm serious. Like a lot of unnecessary stress or anger or frustration comes from the fact that people, it's really hard to accept some things. And I'm not saying that you should just accept it. I know it's hard. It's not easy to accept it. That's why if it's easy, everyone would do it, right? Right in that way. You know, notwithstanding that it's hard to do. Because people don't do that, there's a lot of unnecessary pain they cause upon themselves, right?
Yeah.
Because like they don't accept a certain situation. I'm not advocating for people to accept abuse or accept substandards of living, right? That's again the caveat I'm stating. But I'm just saying like, you know, accepting your current state so you can work towards your end state or where you want to go, right? And
Also organizational development.
oh, sorry, just alright. So maybe just
It's like a corporate one.
sorry, just like a people. I think it's more of like accepting reality as it is. With acceptance comes a lot of peace, right? A lot of peace, a lot of letting go, and then a lot of moving forward. Now you can actually change what you can change, right? You know, whether it's accepting a loss that you have, accepting a dream you couldn't achieve, or accepting something that's just not realistic in the current standpoint of time for you, right? In your current stage of life. Whether it's a career you want, whether it's a house you want, I'm saying materialistic things, or whether it's even like a family you want, in that current standpoint. You can't build it because you don't have the resources all the time, right? And that's a lot of peace when it comes to that.
You know, this conversation has been very insightful. There are three core components, right? We've talked about passion, talent, and hate. Your passion, as how you put it, is that you are a problem solver. And ideally, you problem solve for the
Communion.
people. Your strengths, that you put it, you've highlighted around three. You mentioned that you fail fast. It's another quality. You're good with quants, and you're also curious. A lifelong learner in that sense, which I think is a very important quality.
Yeah, that's what.
So people have difficulty accepting themselves for who they are, accepting their
Current state.
current state.
Things the way they are.
So, and these interceptions. Strength, passion, strength, hate. Where do you see that?
It's really hard, man. It's really hard.
It's
really difficult.
It's very difficult. Right?
It's really difficult, right? So yeah.
It's food. It's food for thought.
Food for thought. Food.
I'm gonna ask you one question. Can keep it simple, and then I'm gonna share something with you. So the first question is, who do you admire, and what do you admire about them?
And I keep it short.
Yeah.
I admire quite a few people. I admire my mom as well. There's this rock climber I admire, it's like Ross Focus. Right, but yeah, people wouldn't know that. There's this game around these people whereby they're just like filled with life. So
Filled with life.
yeah, like life, there's so much coming out, like there's so much to experience in life with them. They're just so
Energy.
yeah, there's energy, right? There's just magic quality, like life is so rich. They're just so excited to engage with it, right? And it's just so inspiring and so like driving, to be around these people and to see all these people.
It's infectious, right?
Yeah, it's
Or
infectious.
it's-
For you, it was that faith quality, right? Like living it out. And for me, it's from the perspective of that magic quality towards
Sure.
life, the interaction with it. There's so much to learn. There's so much to live. There's so much to see. And these are people that I really admire, And I hope I can give back in some way.
Before this, let me ask you one more question, right? If I asked you, right, what are you most grateful for? Maybe over this last week, three things which you're most grateful for. What would you say?
Friends.
Friends.
really good friends. You know, yeah. I'm glad that I have people like you also in my life, right? So no, I'm serious. For real. Like you guys, you all like keep me grounded as well as keep me, really like focusing on the good things, right?
I'm glad I'm able to.
Yeah, and I hope I can give back in some way, in some shape and form, right? But really, you guys inject life. You guys keep me focused on life. There's so much. So yeah, friends. Yeah. Second is, I'm glad I got to really exercise a lot. You know?
No, I really. Yeah,
I love it. You know, there's a lot of activity going on.
Bouldering,
Dude,
cycling.
I'm really glad I got that system down in my life. I'm really happy and proud of it. Keeps me moving and really active. At that point, I think I'm glad for this TV show I'm watching. I'm grateful for that show.
Okay.
It's called Slow Horses. It's not bad for a spy TV series. Yeah, you watch it? It's not bad, right?
It's not bad.
You finish it?
It's an acquired taste.
It's an acquired taste.
It's a very acquired.
Why? Because Gary Oldman is like
No, because there's such a sharp contrast between how he is in Slow Horses versus Police Commissioner Gordon in that.
Right. It's humoric, right? But it's not humor, I guess.
It's good lah. I mean, it's actually a good story.
No, it's great. It's a great story.
Sherlock. I mean, I think that one is.
Sherlock, you mean the one Benedict Cumberbatch?
Yeah, I think that's by far.
No. I tried. He's too wrapped up in the guy, you know. He's like a.
He's meant to be about.
Yeah, but it's so realistic. You know, in Slow Horses it seems a bit more realistic because they mess up. They mess up. I know, but that's realistic. That's how life works, right? How about you? 3 things this week. This week.
Just this week. I mean, this session right now that
Sure,
I'm going to be
yeah.
able to do because I think like what I was mentioning earlier, I want to do a little bit more. I want to make sure that I'm doing something productive and
Yeah, you
creative.
gotta find a more credible guest. You know.
No, you're great.
No.
But I want to do something creative because I think
Yeah.
my sister,
Right.
which can be annoying a lot of times, but she's still smart. No, wise. I understand. No, because she told me that it's important to be creative. Right? We're meant to be creative. So I think being able to create these sorts of things, doing these sorts of productions, and like for a specific purpose, which hopefully is value adding, I want to be able to do these things and hopefully do them for not just myself, but also do them to help others and
That's
help
great.
those around.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm grateful.
I see your passion. You prep so much. It's insane. Actually, I was like, dude, this guy. It's like, wow, he can put so much passion and effort into something in a side project.
Two other things. So this week was honestly very, very hellish.
Yeah. You
As I
had so many
mentioned
things.
to
You had events.
Yeah.
You had corporate meetings.
It's also been pushing me to be more mindful about how I manage myself, my emotions, and also
Stakeholder management and all that.
how I be a good teammate, how I be a good leader. So, in summary, this week has been quite hellish, been quite challenging, but I appreciate it because I think the suffering is meant to help me build some perseverance and also some character.
Right, you learn a lot. You learn the most from these moments, right?
I'm grateful that I was able to pray,
Oh, okay.
even during hell. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You had time for that.
That's, when you're in hell, right, sometimes it's easy to pray because you need help. But when the pain eases sometimes, it's harder to pray there because you don't need help as much there. And then when it eases some more such that you have pleasure and joy, right, then even more you don't need to pray.
And you're not grateful for it anymore.
Yeah, so it's like
Okay.
a tricky thing, you know?
Sure.
Like, you know, so,
That's good. That's good.
Alright, so thank you for that. So now that you've shared with me, what you admire in people and what you are grateful for. So I've been talking with some people, what they're most grateful to you for.
Oh my god.
And also what they think is your gift to people around you. So the first person that we shall go with, which is probably the most obvious one, right? We'll start with that. So we begin with Lincoln.
Bro, why are you doing this to me, man?
Thinking about Edward's best quality, he says it's Edward's self-awareness.
Ha!
He knows his own weaknesses and his strengths and how it affects others.
Ha!
So he actively works on these things.
Okay.
In terms of what he's grateful for, it's making him question his own no arrogance, and making him more open-minded.
When did I
think you saw that
out the either of those points that he mentioned, right?
I think I've only seen limited shades of this, but I think he respects your opinion and he.
Thanks, I'm flattered. This is like stroking my ego a lot. I don't think I need this actually.
And in terms of your gift to those around you, Edward's able to bring out the best in people by accounting for their situation, biases, and seeing things from their side.
Wow, that's insane. That's really kind words. Okay, good. Thanks, man. I know I was being really hard with him, and he was my boss. I'm sorry, but I hope he knows I meant well, and I think he does.
So second one, Vanessa, teammate from Rising as well. In answer to Edward's best quality, it's Edward's wittiness and ability to call out people's bullshit. And she says that, I'd say this is his best and most quality, maybe.
It's worse as well, right?
So it's a double-edged sword, right? So in terms of what she's most grateful to Edward for, it's being her first colleague that she met at Rising. I didn't know this.
I didn't know this either.
And always hyping her up, even though she had no idea what she was doing. I think that's fun because I think she was also she was still studying.
Right.
She's important, you gave her her first.
She was talking to Lincoln, and Lincoln put me with her. Yeah, I remember. No, it's pretty cool. I was really grateful for you guys.
And in answer to what you think is Edward's gift to those around him, it's his genuine willingness to help anyone in need, and not in a people pleaser way. So that's a good thing, You're not trying to please people, you're not trying to curry favor.
I think she also meant that when I help people, I don't mince words or I don't sugarcoat it.
Yeah, I guess that calls that
the first part. So not in a people pleasing way, but I actually try to help you. So I say things in your best interest, but you might not. Thanks, guys. That's very nice things to say.
The one is from Daniel. So Edward's best quality is that he's very loyal as a friend. He's someone who has time and time again gone out of his way for us.
What the heck?
In terms of what he's most grateful for, Daniel says, I'm most grateful for his ability to liven up the mood when everyone is feeling down and stressed out. I think you have that entertainer side to you.
I'm like a jester. I'm like a con jester.
I mean, we were in the elevator one time traveling, and then this
dude,
guy
that was
like,
great.
I think it's the next COVID-19 hotspot.
I say cluster.
Cluster, sure.
I hope this isn't next COVID hot cluster, eh?
Yeah, but we were trapped in the lift, and maybe it was was it a bunch of
it was a bunch of random people.
So
and it was stuffed like a sardine, and I think it stopped halfway for a bit.
And the problem was that they knew we were associated with him, so they were gonna beat him up. They beat us up too. So Daniel says his gift to those around him is his infectious energy and enthusiasm of trying out new things. I think that cues towards what you were saying, right? About your philosophy as well.
Yeah, life is
enthusiasm about life as well.
Yeah. Wow. Thanks, man. It's okay. Dennis says this a lot, so I'm not surprised. Thanks, John. You found like a therapy session, honestly. But I think you're doing something interesting here. Let's see where it goes. I hope it really grows and becomes a collection of voices and thoughts that can really drive people to think, at least about themselves, or at least about information.
Yeah.
At least it's got me thinking about myself.
Maybe as a closing for this, right? So, a big thank you to Chef Edward Lim here for being on this show.
Totally not riding the hype of a specific Korean.
Totally not.
Totally not doing that.
Totally not riding on anyone's coattails here. But a big thank you to Edward Lim here for taking the time to share with us his story. Yeah, and definitely thank you to Edward for the delicious meal that he cooked with much love.
Bro, that was enough flattering.